I would now like to yield to Congressman Burchett from Tennessee.
I'd tell my friend across the aisle, you'll get nowhere calling me a gentleman. I just want you to know that. And I didn't miss my thought process when I came in here and we have a lady who's chairman and it's International Day of the Woman. And I think that's pretty cool that you chair. If my mama were alive, she'd think it's very cool too, because she was a pretty cool lady. Thank y'all for being here. I'm probably the least qualified person to be up here asking y'all questions. But as the 435th most powerful member of Congress, I feel very empowered today, and I'm kind of digging the subject matter. And I'll try to go through these quick. Mr. Schmidt, I dig Google, brother. I don't know what it is. I hit that button. You know, my mom and daddy always say, look it up. Now I tell my daughter, Google it, honey. And, you know, so I think it's pretty cool. But the development of AI, how will that impact our international relations, specifically with China? I fear what they will do if they get control of it. As you stated there, I think you mentioned the date that they said they were going to control it, and I would say they'd probably be doing that 5 years ahead of time. Go ahead, brother.
Thank you, Congressman. I worry about the following scenario. In the future, there's a war. It's an attack by North Korea on the U.S. China stops the war between North Korea and the U.S., and the entire war took 1 millisecond. And the reason I worry about that is I can't figure out how we're going to build offensive and defensive systems that are reliable enough to put them in charge of a war that occurs faster than human decision-making. That, to me, is the ultimate threat of this technology, that the things occur faster than humans can judge them. I don't have a good solution for that. My second observation is that China is very smart, and they have identified these areas as these underlying technologies to provide leadership that dominates industries. A good example is synthetic biology, which is an area which was invented in the United States, likely to be, again, trillions of dollars of wealth. China has now maximized its investment in this area. Not only is it good for their national security, but it's good for their businesses. So when you've got a nation state that's smart, technocratic, focused on its own defense and innovation, and proposing its own companies in the form of civil-military fusion, we've got a serious competitor. That's why we have to act.
Are you aware, or maybe not, I'm not, of the Chinese infiltrating any of our AI companies?
I am not. You must assume that Chinese have operatives pretty much everywhere based on their history.
Okay. Is there any way that we could proactively protect against AI-generated cyber attacks?
Well, you defend against them.
Right.
The technology, we looked a lot at this. The question is, could you create the equivalent of a Manhattan Project that was secret, and you'd keep it all in one place, in one location, New Mexico or what have you? The knowledge is moving too quickly. There's too many people globally. We're going to have to win by staying ahead, which means building powerful defensive systems.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Madre, what are some of the personal risks to personal privacy that are associated with the use of AI?
Sorry, could you clarify what kind of risk?
Well, I guess I should ask my research person. As I stated, it's a
No,
little out of my league.
I just didn't hear.
I just said, what are some of the potential risks?
I see. So again, there is many, and they really depend which sector you look at, because there are different, there are different levels of credibility. So one of them, and like the one big risk, and that's something I research myself, so I'm intimately familiar with it. Just this technology is not fully reliable. It works most of the time, but not always.
It's not fully what?
It's not fully reliable. So essentially, it works most of the time, but not always. And then what is worse, you might not realize when it is not working. Okay, so that's for instance, in ChatGPT, they hallucinate things sometimes, and you might not realize they hallucinate things because it looks very convincing. The other aspect of this is essentially as these systems ingest our data, they can really essentially know us better than we do. And again, that was true also of Google, also of the social media. But I think with this next generation of models, this will become even more so. And then the third level of risks are exactly the one that Dr. Schmidt talked about. I'm actually really worried about that. Not even about the actual war happening, but us preparing for the war, like something can go wrong. And it becomes like when things are happening within a millisecond, like we have no good intuition or no good ways to actually figure out how to make it safe.
Okay, thank you. Running out of time, but Dr. Crowder, real quickly, how will the quantum computing impact the security of encrypted data?
In the long term, quantum computers, someone proved on a blackboard that a lot of our current cryptography, how we basically send keys around and how we digitally sign things, eventually will get broken by a quantum computer. The good news is that people have come up with algorithms that quantum computers are not good at solving and classical computers are not good at solving. So our challenge is really transitioning from the cryptography we use today to that new form of cryptography. And we want to do that as quickly as possible once we've got really safe standards, because we're worried that people will take all the data today and decrypt it later. So for some applications, that doesn't matter, but for a lot of applications, that makes a big different deal.
Okay, thank you. I've run out of time. Chair Lady, thank you, ma'am, very much.
You did a great job.